Hello, hello, my lovely people. My name is Kate, and I'm a hypnotherapist. I'm actually an RTT hypnotherapist, which I'm very proud of. And I want to talk to you about something that was my problem for almost 34 years. And maybe less, but by the time I formed that belief, but for many years. And what problems it caused for me, it helped me to fit in for sure, but it also caused me a lot of issues. So we are talking about people pleasers, right? I've noticed that many clients that I work with, they actually do really very consciously recognize they are people pleasers. They just don't know what to do about it, which is very understandable because they've never learned how to say no, right? And in many cultures, in many countries, including North America, right? People pleasing is like a good sign, right? It means that the person is really good. It's like they're kind, they're very giving, right? They confuse people pleasing with actually kindness, right? These are two different things, right? And people confuse so that a person, especially a child, they connect people pleasing and kindness and goodness and light, right, in them. So they connect these two, so they feel like, oh, if I don't people please, if I don't please people, then it means that I'm not good. I'm not good enough. There is something wrong with me, and all of these limiting beliefs that hold us back, right? So, and in my culture as well, being a good girl means you have to please everyone but not yourself. And that leads to self-rejection. Self-rejection is when you don't know what you want. You are rejecting yourself, which is just the way of life, you know? So, for many people, when they are raised as children or as teenagers, right, being having a good behavior, right, being like quiet, not difficult, putting their needs aside and meeting someone else's needs, very often their parents' needs, right, it means that you have a better chance at survival, better chance at success. You're gonna fit in, you're gonna belong, you're gonna connect, and you're gonna be great. And that probably works for your young years. But then when you grow up, what consequences you have? Well, you don't know what to do. You don't know what you like. You don't know, you put a lot of responsibilities on yourself because you don't know how to say no. You forget about your needs. So your health suffers a lot. Your mental health suffers a lot because you're always in the inner conflict subconsciously. I don't want to do that, but I have to because that's how I learned. That's all I know, right? So, and in modern world, I think that the system, and I'm calling it the system, right? Like the governments, the system, like the whole, this huge machine is actually making you believe that that's good. That pleasing people, being a good, not being difficult is great, right? However, when we are people pleasers, we have lots of guilt and shame. So even if we please people, we still feel guilt we didn't do good enough. We still feel shame, or we feel guilt for not saying no, that we actually wanted to say no. It very often happens in the professional life, right? When you want to say no, but you can't, so you take another project on and another project on, and then you go and complain that, oh, I have so many projects. Well, because you said yes to them, right? So, and something, well, I have to keep a job, right? I don't have any other choice. Yes, we always have a choice. Unconscious trigger is that we don't have a choice because we were small when we formed that belief that we don't have a choice. But as adults, we always have a choice. It's just the price for this choice is different, you know? And in many cases, we don't want to face the price. We don't want to pay the price for the choice. So we choose the easiest. Your mind will always choose the easiest way. And pleasing people was easier because we could please our parents, we could fit in, you know. But in reality, it actually makes us sick, it makes us depressed, it makes us self-reject, it makes us have low confidence, and you name it. You name it, it can be a root cause of people pleasing, right? So usually people pleasing is not your fault. And I want for everyone to understand that that's not your fault. It is a strategy, just a behavior strategy that was the only option available to survive when you were a child. And in many cases, you cannot say that when people as children were very like confident, and were always like in tune with themselves, they always did what they wanted, and then boom, at 45 they became people pleasers. That's not possible. That's a strategy that you developed, right? Early in childhood. Our childhood defines our life. It doesn't mean that it will always be like that. No, we can always change the beliefs by looking into the past and changing the meaning, integrating those traumatic experiences, right? And people pleasing is a trauma response, right? And I think many great psychologists and gurus and mental gurus, right? They always talk about that people pleasing is a trauma response. So how does it show up? So how does it start, right? So you are born ultimately confident. You could say no. Remember how your kids, if you have kids or if you saw other children, they are like, yeah, I don't want to do that. They defy you, right? They are we call them difficult children when they don't want to do something. But in reality, they're just listening to their heart when they're small, right? When they're bigger, they start to form these strategies, being difficult, right? Because it's a form of attention as well. So when we are little kids, right, our parents condition us. Oh, you're such a good boy. You're such a good girl. You're praised for being good, right? So you're not praised on a regular basis just for being difficult as well. You're not praised, right? But you are praised for for being good, for helping mommy, or for being not being loud, right? Or holding hands and walking nicely, right, beside you. So all of these little praises, they're great, but at the same time, the child needs to be praised and celebrated every single day, even on the days when they're crying, when they have when they have been difficult, when they didn't have a good day, right? I don't think any parent praises their kids when they cry and they scream, no, right? So that's why people form the belief, a child forms the belief, when I'm good, that's when I'm praised. So I need to keep being good. And so in the first, it's very innocent. But when you grow up, that shows up in these people-pleasing tendencies, right? When we cannot say no, because if we say no, we regress unconsciously. We regress ourselves to that moment when we couldn't say no. Or if we did say no, what happened? Punished, criticized, judged, put in a corner. Whatever happened in us, right? Abused, right? So that's when we are bullied in school, right? When we are bullied in school, North America is huge about that. Just ignore that. Oh, don't pay attention to them. Oh, they are just, they're just stupid. Don't pay attention to them. You'll survive. Just ignore them. And so the child learns that there is nothing I can do. They learn helplessness, they learn hopelessness, right? So, and they feel like there is nothing I can do. So I just need to please, to be good, to be better, or to shut down. You never know what belief a child comes up with. You never know what that little mind will form. And sometimes people ask me well, why other kids are like that and my kid is like this? I was like, don't compare anyone. Your kid is very, very unique. There is no one like your kid, and your kid's mind is unique, and it will come up with strategies that will benefit your kid, right? So these phrases, don't ignore the bully, when parents don't protect, right? Because there is no way you can protect yourself in school, right? I think that anti-bullying system is horrible in North America, just as, for example, in my home country, the same, right? I don't even know, maybe there are some countries that have really good anti-bullying system, but definitely not in North America, definitely not, right? So as a kid, you grow up and you go to school. And in school, you are praised for good grades. Bad grades, punished. Good grades, celebrated. So pleasing, 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 right? So we start to be better. We start to be perfectionists in many times, right? In many cases. So that kind of carries on in your life as well. In personal life, right? A lot of people pleasers end up in narcissistic, abusive relationships. Either it's mental or physical, emotional, right? Because they don't know how to say no, because they please in order to be happy, to fit in. So sometimes they make choices that really harm them more than they benefit them, right? Because they don't know what they want. People pleaser very rarely can admit what they really want. I have been a people pleaser, and when people would ask me something, like ask me something personal, like what do you want, I couldn't even answer. I couldn't even tell, because I didn't know. Because if I told something that I really wanted, I always thought about their reaction. So a people pleaser will always look at the reaction of a person. That's why I love working with people pleaser, with people with clients who have people pleasing tendencies, because they don't see me. They are in hypnosis with closed eyes, so they never see my reaction. They never see anyone else's reactions. They can actually go into themselves and they can answer their questions, right? They can actually, really tap into what they want. Because when the people pleaser are looking at the psychologist and are talking to them, he or she will always look at the reaction. Are they happy with me? Oh, what would they think about this? What would they think about that, right? They will overthink, and that defeats the whole purpose of the therapy, right? So people pleasers always look for validation, acceptance, praise, right? And in that way, they might forget what they really want, right? In career, this is huge. People pleasers always take it all. All the burden of the company is on their shoulders. They feel like they're responsible for everything. They never say no. Supervisors, director, bosses usually put lots of project on them, because people will go as far as you let them in. This is a big reality, the big truth about relationship, about manipulations, right? People will go as far as you let them in. Really important, right? So if you let them, put lots of responsibility, if you let them, then they will, right? So, and ending up, these people end up burnout, exhausted, right? They don't have work-life balance because they don't know what it is. They don't know what work-life balance is. They want to please everyone. If they please, they feel like they are fulfilled, which is so wrong, right? The roots and the causes are, in most cases, I would say in 95% cases, right? From what I see with my clients, is that it's coming from the childhood. It's emotional neglect, physical neglect, abuse, right? People who don't know, who shut down their essence and started to be someone else, playing someone else's role, playing a role of a good girl, of a good boy. And that strategy stays until the end of life, really, if not changed, right? If not questioned. So that's one thing. Being punished and criticized a lot and being praised for only good accomplishments, right? Not being praised for just being born. Then it means that people can become people pleasers, right? Also, emotionally immature parents, unavailable parents, right? So they're kind of physically here, but emotionally they're absent. So the child will feel the guilt and the shame. They will feel like it's their own fault. So they will try to do better, to be better in order to get that attention, that love, because we feel like we as parents, we feel like our kids don't notice, but they notice everything. Everything. Whether you fight, whether you are depressed, whether you're anxious. I have worked with a lot of people, and every single time, this is what they come up with. Must be my fault. If my parents are not happy, this must be my fault. And if I please them, if I'm good enough, then they will love me. So this belief is carried on, and it shows up in professional life, personal life, in relationship, everywhere. So what are the consequences of people pleasers, right? I would say not even consequences, but the biggest fear is to stay alone, to not survive, to not fit in, to be rejected. That's the biggest fear of the people pleaser, right? What are the steps to do? People pleasers are, this tendency is really painful. When you start to change that tendency, when you start to change that behavior, when you stop being a people pleaser, you lose friends. That happened to me as well. You lose friends because you don't align with what they want. What you want is not aligned with what they want, right? So that's a big one. You always have family members or friends telling you, how dare you? Really, if you start to say no, you've been a people pleaser, and then you started to say no, your parents will tell you, how dare she is, how dare he is, how could he do that, so you losing their trust and love, happens as well, but it's only temporary. In reality, people who respect you, who love you, and even your family members will come back and respect you even more if they really want to be with part of your life, right? So it's very painful. This fear of rejection is so strong that people pleasers, it's hard for them to start setting the boundaries, but absolutely possible, right? Good. So in order to understand and to start working towards it, start to say no. Start to say no. Work on your subconscious mind. Find out where this people-pleasing personality is coming from. Where is that strategy is coming from? And everything will be different from. When you start to question your people-pleasing personality, when you start to work on it, everything changes. Sometimes painful, but so rewarding to your health. So be healthy physically and mentally. If you have any questions, please comment below, subscribe so that I can make more videos. I love you all. Bye.